100,000 tons of steel, and it starts as a single flat plate on a factory floor. No blueprint on paper guides the newest carrier being built today, only a digital model inside a computer. It takes over 10 years, thousands of workers, and one single shipyard in the entire country capable of doing it. One piece of this ship, just one section, can weigh more than 900 tons, roughly the weight of 2 loaded jumbo jets. We'll come back to the exact price tag, and it might be higher than you think. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how a flat sheet of steel becomes a floating airbase that can carry 90 aircraft anywhere in the world. And this entire process happens in only one place in America, a shipyard that has held this responsibility for generations. That shipyard is Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia, part of a company called HII. It sits along the James River, and it is the only shipyard in the United States that knows how to build a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier from the ground up. Not one of a few. The only one. Every single carrier the U.S. Navy has ever operated came from this one location. And that responsibility says a lot about the skill and trust placed in the workers there. If you have ever wondered how a ship this massive gets built, piece by piece, stick around, because the process is far more advanced than most people ever imagine. If you find this as fascinating as we do, let us know by commenting below. Section 1. Where it all begins. Building a carrier does not start with a hull. It starts with steel. And not just any steel. The Navy uses a special high-strength alloy for its most critical structural areas, developed originally for submarines because it needed to survive extreme pressure and stress. This steel has to be tough enough to survive combat, corrosion-resistant enough to handle years in salt water, and strong enough to hold together a ship carrying 90 aircraft and thousands of people. For decades, a steel plant in Pennsylvania supplied this material for American carriers, and today, that same site still supplies up to 95% of the armor plate used across the entire U.S. Navy. That is not a small contractor. That is one facility responsible for protecting nearly every major ship in the American fleet. Once the steel arrives at the shipyard, the real construction begins, but not in the way most people picture it. Section 2. Building in pieces, not one piece at a time. Here is something that surprises most people. A modern aircraft carrier is not built the way you might imagine, starting at one end and slowly working toward the other. Instead, the Navy uses something called modular construction. Workers build the ship in hundreds of separate sections, away from the dry dock entirely. Each section gets its walls, its piping, its electrical wiring, sometimes even its furniture, all before it ever touches the main hull. These sections are called Superlifts, and some of them are almost unbelievable in size. One Superlift built for the carrier John F. Kennedy weighed 704 tons and was about 80 feet by 105 feet. And here is the part that is hard to picture. That single section already contained a barber shop and a post office fully built before it was ever lowered into place. Another section for that same ship weighed 965 tons. To put that in perspective, that is heavier than 2 fully loaded Boeing 747 jumbo jets combined into a single object being lifted through the air by a crane. So how do you even lift something that heavy? That question leads us to one of the most impressive tools in the entire shipyard. Section 3. The crane that builds battleships. Newport News operates a gantry crane rated for 1,050 metric tons, and it is the largest crane of its kind in the United States. This crane lifts each completed superlift and lowers it into the dry dock with incredible precision, joining it to the sections already in place. Workers then weld everything together, section by section, until what started as dozens of separate pieces becomes one continuous ship. the order matters too. Construction generally begins at the bottom of the ship and works upward, starting with the inner bottom and the lower hull sections before moving up toward the flight deck. Think about that for a moment. The very last piece added to the primary structure is the upper bow, meaning the front of the ship, the part most people picture first, is actually one of the final major pieces put into place. For the carrier Kennedy, engineers planned the entire build around 445 major lifts. That was 51 fewer lifts than the first Ford-class carrier needed, and 149 fewer than the very last Nimitz-class carrier built before it. Fewer lifts means less time spent connecting pieces together, and that single improvement alone helped shave real time off the construction schedule. We will come back to exactly how many years this entire process takes from start to finish, and the number might surprise you. Before we continue, take a moment to like this video and subscribe if you are enjoying it so far. Most people watching have not subscribed yet, and it costs nothing, but it helps us keep making videos that honor the incredible work behind our military. Section 4. The keel, the launch, and the milestones. Every carrier's construction is marked by a few major ceremonies, and the first one is called the keel laying. This is considered the official start of construction, even though steelwork often begins years earlier. During this ceremony, the ship's sponsors, often notable public figures, have their initials welded onto a steel plate that becomes a permanent part of the ship forever. When the carrier Enterprise had its keel laying in 2022, the ship's sponsors were two U.S. Olympic gold medalists, Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky. Their initials were welded into steel that will remain on that ship for the rest of its 50-year service life. That is a detail most people never think about, that somewhere on this massive warship, there is a permanent tribute welded directly into its structure. Years later, once the hull is complete enough to hold its own shape, the ship experiences something called christening, when it is formally named, followed eventually by launching, when the dry dock is slowly flooded with water for the very first time. For the Enterprise, that moment came in October of 2024, when the shipyard began filling the dry dock with more than 100 million gallons of water, floating the ship for the first time in its existence. Imagine spending years building something that has never once touched water, and then watching it float for the first time. Even after launching, the ship is far from finished. Interior systems, weapons, flight deck equipment, and thousands of additional details still need to be completed before the carrier is ready for sea trials. Section 5. The staggering scale of it all. Let's talk about just how much goes into one of these ships. The Kennedy alone contains 2,615 separate spaces and rooms. It required about 10.5 million feet of electrical cable, which stretches out to nearly 2,000 miles. Almost enough cable to run from the shipyard in Virginia all the way to the west coast of the country. The shipyard itself spans 550 acres along the river, and at any given time, it employs around 26,000 shipbuilders. Today, this yard is doing something it has never done before in its history, building 3 Ford-class carriers at the exact same time: the Kennedy, the Enterprise, and a third carrier named Doris Miller, all under construction simultaneously. And this is not a cheap undertaking. These 3 carriers alone carry price tags of $13.2 billion, $14.2 billion, and $15.2 billion each. Remember that number we mentioned at the very beginning? That is the answer. Over $13 billion, sometimes more, for a single ship. And every dollar goes toward creating one of the most advanced weapons platforms ever built by any nation on Earth. Section 6. Why it takes so long. Here is where the tension comes back in. Building one of these ships does not take a year, or even a few years. According to the Congressional Budget Office, A modern Ford-class carrier now takes somewhere between 10 and 11 years to build. And some estimates put the full timeline closer to 15 years when you include planning and early steelwork. Compare that to history for a moment. During World War II, the carrier Yorktown went from its keel laying to full commissioning in about 16 months. The Navy commissioned 17 carriers of that older Essex class before the war even ended. Today, one single modern carrier can take longer to build than that entire wartime fleet took to construct combined. Why the difference? Today's carriers are nuclear-powered, vastly more complex, and built to last 50 years instead of a couple of decades. Every reactor component requires specialized nuclear certification. Every system requires rigorous testing most ships never needed in the past. It is not that shipbuilders are slower today, it is that the ship itself is an entirely different level of engineering, one that did not even exist during those earlier wars. And through it all, the same shipyard, the same skilled workforce, continues taking on a challenge that no other yard in the country is even certified to attempt. That level of expertise deserves real recognition. So the next time you see a U.S. aircraft carrier in the news, sailing across the ocean with dozens of aircraft on its deck, remember what it took to get there. A flat sheet of steel, shaped into hundreds of separate sections, lifted by the largest crane in the country, welded together piece by piece over the course of more than a decade, by tens of thousands of skilled workers who rarely get any public recognition for what they build. It is not just a warship. It is one of the greatest engineering achievements in the world, made possible by American shipbuilders who take enormous pride in every weld, every plate, and every superlift they put into place. If this video gave you a new appreciation for what goes into building these incredible ships, drop a like and consider subscribing. It helps this channel keep honoring the people and the engineering behind the United States Navy